Sup, everyone? All my fellow hobbyists, all my fellow lore nerds. Majorkill dropped a new video on interspecies diplomacy in 40K. And as we all know, that basically doesn't really exist, except kind of between humans and Eldar.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to say what he has to say about this, what kind of heresy he's about to discuss. So, as our good buddy Majorkill says, let's get into it.
Gal, no one.
Hey, Majorkill, I'm over on my channel stealing your shtick. You better come out and pound me.
I would blame you if you didn't believe that the various different races and factions of Warhammer 40K never got along. G'day, guys and gal. No one would blame you if you didn't believe that the various different races and factions of Warhammer 40K never got along. After all, the setting is called Warhammer, and GW literally jerks himself off every 5 minutes while saying, in the grim darkness of the 42nd millennium, there is only war. But is that true? Is there?
They really do be smothering that.
Yes.
That shit's Frank's Red Hot. They put that shit on everything.
On everything.
They're like, we're about to drop a new model for Orc's favorite food. In the grim darkness of the future, there is only war.
Only war? Or can the various races and factions of 40K put aside their differences and work together? The answer is yes. And likely quite a lot more than you would expect. It might surprise you to know that the Imperium isn't in a constant state of war with the Eldar or the Tau. Even on disputed worlds, there is often negotiation and diplomacy before the guns start firing. Sometimes diplomacy is even successful. Then when a planet is taken by one faction or the other, generally the war ends and they go back to being just, kind of pissy at each other. But I'm getting ahead of it. Today, we'll go over the various times in the lore where the various races and factions of 40K have agreed to diplomatic terms, ranging from temporary non-aggression pacts all the way to full-blown alliances, like Gimli and Legolas style. Let's get into it. Let's start with
fan theory. Majorkill uses Chaos Marines in his intro because he aligns himself with Chaos.
One of the more common examples, the diplomacy between the Eldar and the Imperium. This relationship can be described as quite toxic. Sure, they have their good times, but between the Eldar randomly genociding an Imperial world for no apparent reason, followed by the Imperium invading and decimating an Eldar craft world for no apparent reason, they definitely aren't best of friends. Like most toxic relationships, it really comes down to a communication issue. That world that the Eldar genocided was secretly a breeding ground for a chaos cult, a cult that would one day summon a demon prince that would bring the subsector to its knees. Hence, by the Eldar taking out that planet, it saved trillions of human lives. But how is the Imperium supposed to know that? All they saw was a bunch of space elves fuck up a planet. This has bred a lot of mistrust. Hence, a long-lasting alliance between mankind and the Eldar has not been established. That isn't to say that they don't have connections and diplomacy. For example, did you know that the powerful navigator
connections? that's Majorkill's speak for Guilliman stuffing it to your brain.
Right.
House Belisarius is actually indebted to Craftworld Ulthwé. I'm not talking like quick Aristi under the dinner table and we call it square. I'm talking a multi-generational life debt times 7. Basically, Ulthwé did Belisarius a huge solid, likely saving the house. In return, Belisarius gave Ulthwé 7 coins. Upon redemption of a coin, House Belisarius would have to provide all its resources and manpower to Ulthwé's aid until a specific task was complete. Then the debt would be paid off by 1/7. I haven't seen in the lore what Ulthwé did to make Belisarius such a simp for him, but it must have been huge, especially since House Belisarius is the creme de la creme of navigator houses. There is also Craftworld K-Lore, who, on by the order of the Inquisition, is to be given an Imperial escort when it travels through Imperial space. All Imperial ships are ordered not to even attempt contact with K-Lore, which makes the origins of the agreement a big mystery. Either way, another cool example of diplomacy.
Or like, we just couldn't come up with an idea for this, so
we want to make this a mysterious, cool thing, and we're not going to tell you why it's mysterious and cool. That makes it mysterious and cool.
Exactly. It's like it's mysterious and cool because we didn't think of it. So we're just like, we'll
It's
just
so
shroud
mysterious,
this.
even we don't know.
We don't know.
That just sounds like you guys being lazy. Shut up.
Right. It's like,
and then they copyright strike your fan theory video about it because that's how GW rolls.
Exactly. They're like what I said the other night. Don't mind me. I'm just throwing gravel in this plot hole.
Then there is the obvious one, the Inari's alliance with Guilliman's Imperium. As the Inari busted their left nut to get the Bobby G back to life, it makes sense that they would become friends. The Inari Imperium as a bulwark against Chaos's victory. Hence, a strong Imperium is a weak Chaos.
Yeah, not to mention, she's a big fan of his bulwark, you know what I mean?
Guilliman sees the Eldar as a faction that he wants to fight, that he shares a common enemy with. Neither side particularly trust each other, and they haven't really interacted that much in super recent lore. Guilliman even trained himself to not depend on his life support armor as a way of ensuring he was free from their control. There are a few other examples, such as Inquisitor Ravenel's long-standing friendship with the Eldar, or the Grey Knights returning stolen spirit stones to the Eldari. But for the most part, it seems that you would need a lot of authority to be able to form agreements with the Eldar, as only Navigator houses, Inquisitors, or the literal Lord of the Imperium have been able to manage it successfully. So what about the Imperium and the Tau? The Imperium sees the Tau as a low-level threat, but a bit of a thorn in their side, and the part of Imperial space which comes into conflict with the Tau is considered to be of side. And the part of Imperial space which comes into conflict with...
Bruh, I can't do.
Yeah, I just realized it's like, wait a minute.
But a bit of a thorn in their side. And the part of Imperial space which comes into conflict with the Tau...
Conflict! Conflict!
It almost sounded like he said conflict.
I heard conflict, like Affleck. Conflict. Conflict.
It was a very big conflict. Just...
No, Caitlin, are we about to have a civil war over what Majorkill said?
No, I'm just...
It was conflict. Affleck.
Conflict.
Considered to be of low value. Hence, the
Yeah,
Imperial
we're playing
space
again.
which comes into conflict with the Tau is considered a thorn in their side. And the part of Imperial space which comes into conflict with the Tau...
Maybe it is conflict. God damn it.
is considered to be of low value. Hence, the Imperium doesn't really see the point in engaging in an all-out war with them or trying to wipe them out, especially when shit like the Tyranids exist. The Damocles Crusade, which was the Imperium's attempt to take them out, was costly, didn't achieve much, and ended up being redirected to greater threats. Fortunately for the Imperium, the Tau love diplomacy. They fucking love it. They literally have an entire caste of their race dedicated towards it, the Water Caste. The Tau seek to peacefully integrate nearly all sentient life into their empire. I say nearly because orcs and Tyranids are on their naughty list. As such, the majority of the time the Tau take over an Imperial planet,
It's kind of hard to negotiate with something that's like, you look an awful lot like food.
Right. Yeah. And it's also, kind of hard to negotiate with things that are spawned from mushrooms that are like, wah.
They're like, wah.
Wah.
They're like, I just built this big DACA. Wah.
Wah. I painted red.
I paint my car red so it gets me to the wah faster.
No, it doesn't have any fuel. Joke's on you. I remember I put fuel in there 5 minutes ago.
Who needs fuel when you have the wah?
The wah.
We have the orcs right where we want them. The orcs, joke's on you. We have the wah.
The wah.
It's not by force, but by years of subtle manipulation, which mainly just involves improving the standard of living on said world. In the Commissar Kane books, there was a world that the Tau and the Imperium had an established presence on, hence things were quite tense. Despite this, they weren't at war, and they would regularly meet to discuss treaties, future actions, and even trade agreements. When some gene stealers appeared to fuck shit up, the Tau and the Imperium teamed up to wipe them out. Tau had even heard of and begun to admire Commissar Kane. I mean, who wouldn't? The man's a fucking giga-chad. If Guilliman was to meet the Tau, I'm sure he would see them as a potential asset and ally rather than a Xeno threat. I'd love to see a scene of him meeting them. They would all shit the bed thinking that he's the legendary god emperor that the humans keep speaking of. Then, as the Watercast and the Ethereals try to manipulate G-Man, he would see right through them and completely slay them in a game of wits and diplomacy. I would say that whilst the Imperium and Eldar do have more diplomatic history, as well as some seriously long-lived agreements, overall the hostilities between the Tau and humanity is significantly lesser than between Eldar and humanity. Maybe something to do with all those planets the Eldar have blown up. Surprisingly, the Orcs have had diplomatic ties with the other races in the past. The key example is the Blood Axes clan, a clan of unusually intelligent orcs who act more like savage humans rather than the orcs we all know and love. I say this because they engage in trade with other races, will retreat from battle if defeat is inevitable, and will even work with the Imperium as mercenaries on occasion. They used to be the big dick orc clan until the other orcs thought they were a bunch of uppity nerds that needed a good smack. In another funny example, some Tau Watercast members learnt how to speak orc and actually try to engage in diplomacy with them. The orcs found this highly amusing, and with a smile on their face, cut down the diplomats that approached them. Bit of a predictable response, but props for trying. So whilst orc diplomacy is rare, it's important to note that orcs aren't usually mean-spirited. So if they think something is funny or gives them a good crack, then maybe they'll agree to it. The Dark Eldar are universally loathed by the entire galaxy. Tends to happen when you go around raping, torturing, and pillaging everyone. Despite this, it's not uncommon for the Dark Eldar to work with the Craft Worlders and Harlequins. When a Maiden World or Craft World is under threat, the Dark Eldar will use this as a chance to basically blackmail their Eldari cousins. They will offer their aid, but they'll take something in return, or their aid will come in the form of a bit of a fuck you. For example, the Tyranids were attacking a Maiden World, and the Dark Eldar arrived to help. They brought a bomb with them that could only be activated by Eldar Psykers, and for whatever reason, the bomb could only be activated manually. Hence, the Eldar Craft Welders had to suicide bomb a number of their Psykers to win. I'm 99% sure the Dark Eldar had a different bomb, or they had a remote activation for the bomb they bought, but because they're massive assholes, that's what they presented. Before the Tau knew how bad the Dark Eldar were, they accepted their aid against the Tyranids. In exchange, the Dark Eldar wanted a few hundred Tau to be handed over. The Tau, in their desperation, agreed. In the next battle, the Dark Eldar deployed new weapons, giant mutated monsters with blue skin. Turns out they had fused the Tau together into Goliaths that were in constant agony. The Tau were horrified by this, and they tried to punish the Dark Eldar, resulting in the Dark Eldar kidnapping an entire planet's worth of Tau to rape and torture. God fucking damn it, Dark Eldar. This is why nobody fucking likes you. Chaos doesn't really do diplomacy. I mean, they can barely do it within their own faction, let alone with the galaxy that they're trying to destroy. Yet surprisingly,
their name is Chaos. Is that really surprising to anyone?
Yeah.
There are extremely rare cases of the Imperium working with Chaos. During the War of the Beast, an Iron Warrior force teamed up with some Imperial fists to fight off an Orc army. Out of honor, the fists were to let the Iron Warriors escape unharmed. However, the Black Templars were in attendance and they didn't really vibe with this. Hence, the fists that helped the Iron Warriors escaped with them and eventually fell to Chaos. Another kind of example is when Kabunda came to Baal to help kill the Tyranids that were attacking. This was less of a team up and more of a, only I can destroy the Blood Angels, nobody else. But hey, take what you can get. The loyalist elements of the Alpha Legion have aided the Imperium on numerous occasions, usually disguised as other people. So whilst a straight-up alliance between Chaos and anything in the galaxy will never happen, desperate times can bring them together. The Necrons are surprisingly more diplomatic than you would expect. depending on the Necron dynasty, of course. They feel themselves above the need to exchange pleasantries or make diplomatic concessions, especially when their tomb world is the issue in question. But they have been known to politely tell people to get the fuck off their lawn. Sure, some Necrons just wake up and genocide everyone on their world, but others will literally say, yo, this is my house. You have 1 year to leave before we kill you all. The Necrons are proud and enjoy a bit of pizzazz, a bit of showmanship. So they relish the opportunity to let the galaxy know who they are. What I'm trying to say is that their version of diplomacy is
Oh God, the flayed ones.
Yes.
Why would they? Okay. Unless that's that one dynasty that's cool with the flayed ones, they wouldn't just be letting flayed ones near them. They'd be like, oh God,
No.
flayed ones.
Right. Yeah. They'd be like, get away from me. I do not need your infection.
Fuck off.
No.
I like that, to be honest. I do have to mention the infamous Matt Wardlaw, when the Blood Angels and the Necrons, led by the Silent King himself, teamed up to take on some Tyranids. I personally don't hate this bit at all. Necrons, especially the Silent King, are more than capable of common sense and seeing the bigger picture. Dante was initially considering suicide bombing the Silent King, but then he realized that the Tyranids were the real threat. It was a common sense temporary alliance that wasn't particularly out of character. Do the Tyranids engage in diplomacy? No. Have the Tyranids ever engaged in diplomacy? Yes. They used to use an enslaved race called the Zotes to go out, form connections with other races, and then suss out if their biomass is worth eating. So not really good faith diplomacy, but it still counts. You could probably also consider the gene stealers as a form of diplomacy.
Well, it was the same kind of diplomacy that, you know, like the English and the French engaged in with each other. Hey, I'm going to pretend to negotiate with you to figure out how best I can fuck you.
Oh.
But once again, it's an
Also, why is that thing like a Cthulhu abomination right now?
extremely bad faith.
Right.
Is bad faith diplomacy?
Well, I mean, it is a
Of course it
Tyranid.
is. Just look at Russia. As we can see, whilst each faction might be incredibly xenophobic and racist, hell-bent on the genocide of anything that they don't share a common ancestor with, that doesn't mean that even on the battlefield, love can't bloom. If you enjoyed the video and you want to support the channel...
What?
He said,
What?
oh my God. Oh, kill you, optimistic son of a bitch.
Right. He's like, no, this is foreshadowing for some Tyranid hentai. That's what this is.
The Patreon is the place to be. Only $1 per month gives you access to a boatload of cartoon titties, which hopefully will have real titties soon. Hit the subscribe button and hit the real subscribe button for more diplomatic content. Join the Discord for more memes, and I'll see you in the next
Hopefully
one.
we'll have real titties soon.
Peace.
I mean, I'm sure he could find some models who would cosplay Warhammer shit and take risque photos. I'm sure he could. The only question is how much they would charge.
True.
Alrighty, everyone. This has been Major Kill. How does each race engage in diplomacy with others? Spoiler alert, they don't.
They don't. Yeah.
Oh, man. But all joking aside, hey, do us a favor, hit that subscribe button, share us around with your fellow 40K nerds. You know at least one. We do a bunch of 40K content, man. Come on.
Yeah.
Just hit the share button, hit the sub button. Just give it a little tickle.
You know you want to.
Welcome to the adventure.